Well, hello again. So I apologize for not posting videos earlier, but I've been kind of busy here, but I got some exciting news to share here. I've been making Lego train wheels out of metal. So I got a sample here that I made earlier. So basically this is kind of on my quest here to make replacement 9-volt motors like these guys here. And I started out with this is my block 1 prototype using the HO gauge wheels that I sleeved inside those orange axles, and it works fairly well, but there's a lot of slippage going on and I have to glue the wheels into the axle, and it's not ideal, and I kind of want a simpler solution that I can just plug the wheels straight into the axles. So to that end, I started looking at making my own wheels out of metal from the plastic ones that I can use. And the technique I've been using is to cast them in sand. And I'm going to show you this process. I'll take you through the whole thing. But basically, here's some of the wheels I've made earlier as a comparison, and they're fairly good. They're not great. I'm still learning this whole sand casting technique, but I basically want to be able to just thread them straight onto the Lego axle. As you can see, these ones don't have the hole in them, but I'm working on a plan for that one. So these are kind of the first kick at the can, basically, of these metal wheels that I can use, and I needed a way to basically make them fairly quickly, fairly easily, and very cheaply, because no one in this world is making these style of Lego wheels in metal, which is really what I want to continue this project and start up the block 2 prototypes. So apologize here, there's a little bit too close to the camera, but as you can see, they look pretty good. These are cleaned up and polished and ground and what have you. So I just need to make holes in the center there for these wheels. So so ultimately I want to get to something like that and basically have these power functions style motors converted into the proper 9-volt motors. So it will look something like this, basically. So it's not going to be an exact copy of the old 9-volt system, but it should work. I'm trying to look at a simple way to do this, and an easy way to make these motors. So I'm going to kind of show you the whole casting process of how I made these wheels, and I'm still learning this. I had to kind of learn a new skill here to make my own wheels. So I'm using this sand casting technique, and basically you make a mold out of very fine sand here. And this is called the cope. This is the bottom half of the mold. And you put the two halves together and you pour your molten metal inside, and then you've got your cast, basically. So what I'm doing here is just taking the sand, putting it in, and just compacting it very gently. So you don't want the sand too compact, because it makes it very difficult to make an impression, but you don't want it too loose, because you'll have, it just won't form properly. So you've got to have that kind of happy medium of sand that's compacted. So you've got to kind of go through this process of just putting the sand in, compacting it, scraping it off, compacting it, basically, until you get to where you want. You've got the right sort of consistency. So this is kind of what I'm doing here. Just making sure I've got everything in place. So it's a bit of an art to do this sort of thing, and it's a bit of a trial, basically, to get this correct. And so far it's turned out fairly well. I'm pretty happy with the results that I've got. So I'm just kind of getting the final layer of sand in here in the cope, and then I'll be ready to start setting up the mold. So I've got the 4 plastic wheels there ready to go, and just finally getting the last bit of it in place here. And then what I'll do is I'll get my get my ruler out in a bit, and just make sure the throat there is compacted, and make sure I've got everything kind of pat down there. Yep. And then just get my ruler basically and just shave off any sort of excess that I don't need. And you need to kind of keep this flat, so when you do the impressions, it forms as good as mold as you can get. So here's my four template wheels, and I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a positioning of where I want to put them. So I want to space them out equally, and I've got to make a sprue for them so that, you know, when the molten metal pours in, it'll go into all the four molds basically. So I'm just getting these kind of lined up, and I'm fairly happy where they're going to go. And one last thing before I do this is to get some baby powder and just sprinkle that on top there, and that basically helps the mold separate, and it helps these plastic molds come out when you've impressed them basically. So it just helps with that. Ideally you're supposed to use talcum powder, but I couldn't find any, so I'm using like the baby cornstarch, which it works well enough, I think. But that's what's recommended to use. So now I've got them kind of positioned here, and I'm just going to push them into the molds very, very carefully and slowly. So I'm just using my thumb here. That's as good enough, and it pushes into the sand fairly well. And the sand, by the way, you put a little bit of water into it, so you get like it sort of clumps together in your hand. You know, you don't want too much water, otherwise you'll just end up with mud. But it doesn't want to be too dry, because then it won't take the impression. So you need a little bit of water there to just kind of hold the consistency and make it kind of slightly sticky. So that's me basically there getting the four wheels ready. Now that I've got them there, just dust off any excess talc powder, and then I'm going to get ready here with my my pencil. I'm going to get the cope, which is the top part of this mold here. I'm just going to get that sort of like a test fit basically. Make sure I'm happy with that. And so now I can go and make my sprue. So this is basically the channel for the molten aluminium or aluminum to pour into. And so kind of coming off this, I need to make channels into the where the wheels are, so that it will all flow in there. So just using a little hammer here just to tap it out, make a bit of an impression for it. So don't think this is always necessary. Depends how well you compact the sand as well, if it's too tight. And I probably could have used a smaller object here to make that sprue, but this is okay. So there, I'm just test fitting that again. Right, so now I can cover the top bit with more sand, and ideally you're supposed to use a sieve for the very first layer, because to get that first layer very fine, but I don't have one yet, so I'm just using my judgment here. And I'm basically just doing the same process now. I'm covering the top of those wheels with the sand, and I'm going through the same process of compacting it. So initially just using my fingers to get it into the corners there, and just even it out a bit more and just push it down, and then just just get the hammer in again. Just give it, you don't have to just hit it really hard. Just give it a good tap just to help compact it a little bit, and then just go round a bit more, fill in the sand, put some more sand in until ultimately we you have enough sand in there and it's all kind of compact and we're ready to go. So this is just finishing off that sand, and we'll be ready to go. So just a few more taps there with the hammer. Again, nothing too crazy, just to make sure it's flattened. You don't want to overcompensate that. You don't want to have too much there. So that's kind of like the final bit there I've got, and then I found that little plastic thing to help compact it. So I just get it in there, and then tap tap tap, And yeah, I think, yeah, we're done here. And just get my ruler again and smooth it all off, cut off any excess. And yeah, all that sand, all that excess sand, I can put back in the box and reuse it. One of the things I found with this is you don't waste a lot of material. You can reuse it, like the metal. If it doesn't come out right, you can just push it back into the crucible and remelt it. And the sand, you can reuse a lot of it. So it's not actually a very wasteful process. Okay, so now I've cleaned up a little bit there. What I can now do is get this mold together. I'm going to use some clamps, just make sure it doesn't fall apart when I'm doing the pour. And yeah, we'll be ready to go on this. So one last thing is to take out the wheels that I've used to make this mold, and also take out this pencil that I used to make the sprue. And you've got to be really, this is kind of, yeah, you've got to be slightly delicate here, just pulling them out without disturbing anything or tearing anything. So I just use my little X-Acto knife here just to kind of pull the wheels out in the corners. And thanks to using the talcum powder, they come out fairly easily. You just kind of grip them. Tweezers are also a good option as well. I was using those too, and that works well enough. So there's the wheels out, basically, and yeah, that's the mold. That's almost ready to be used. So yeah, I'm just blowing off any loose sand there. Fortunately, I think I damaged one of the wheels in the bottom there, but we'll see about that later. So the other thing is about this is making some cuts into the sand, as you can see I'm doing there. So when you're pouring it in, that the air that's inside needs to go somewhere. So I'm cutting very sort of small, just some small channels in there with the knife, just so that air's got somewhere to escape. And then I'm just using my pencil here to push a hole through it, so that air can escape out of the mold, basically. And that's kind of what you got to do there. But I think here I should probably use a drill bit or something thinner. That might be overkill, but as long as the air can get out, then it's better for pouring, basically. So I'm just making those holes there. And then final thing that I'm doing here is to so I'm just cleaning up those channels there. Yeah. The final thing I need to do is just cut a little channel into the wheel itself from the sprue, so the metal can actually pour in and make that mold. So I'm just cleaning up a little bit there, and yeah, so that's the one I've kind of messed up a little bit there, but yeah, oh well, it is what it is. I'm still learning this technique. Yeah, so those are the molds there, you can see, yeah, and the holes for the air to come out. And then yeah, just take a little knife or something flat, and then just cut like little channels in there. Again, this is a fairly delicate operation to do this, and yeah, this is fairly standard stuff, and I'm still trying to figure out how much to cut and where to put it. But basically, as long as the channels there are clear, then the metal will flow in. And I'm doing the other side of the mold as well, just to cut that in too as well. So we're basically almost ready there. I've just got those two final ones to do. And then just get off the excess sand. I'm just using my breath just to blow it off, so I don't have an air gun or anything like that too, or an air compressor. And yeah, so that mold is ready. So I'm just going to take this and get some clamps on it. As you can see, some of the sand fell through there, but that's not too much of a worry. So I'm going to take this and then get some clamps on it, and that'll help it keep it together. So there you go, it's all clamped on. There's my little furnace I've got going there, and here's the pour. So this is blisteringly hot, and the crucible is glowing red there. That's full of molten aluminium there. And yeah, just pour it in. And that's it. Just set that down to one side, and get my quenching bucket out in a bit, and just give that a few minutes to cool down and solidify. So yeah, that's what's left. You see it's still glowing red there, and there's the metal. That's pretty solid. Okay, and yeah, so here's the quenching bucket. I've let it sit for a few minutes, so that I know definitely it's solidified, but it's still crazy hot. So I've got to still be very careful with this. I don't burn myself. So taking precautions and using my gloves. Yeah, so here's the reveal, and there we have it. We have some more Lego train wheels. So I'll just take this out and put it in the quenching bucket, cool it down so I can handle it. Just let that sizzle and cool down. And just leave it in there. Yeah, and this is the result of the mold. So there's some black there. I think that's from the cornstarch that's burnt basically, and it's a lot more dramatic on this side. Yeah, and again, I just scraped that off, and I can reuse most of this sand in another casting. So I'm not really wasting a lot of materials here. And this is what came out. So I've got definitely 3 usable wheels here. That one you can see didn't form very well, but I got 3 there, so yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that, and they look clean on the back there. There's a bit of flashing on that bottom one there, but you know, this is the next stage now, where I just cut them off the sprue and I polish them down, polish them up and grind them and file them and make them look like those 4 that we've got there, and hopefully they're as close as you can get to those black wheels, those plastic wheels there basically. So yeah, one thing I did do is, so I'll just take this one off here, this one that I'm not going to use, but again I can just throw that straight back in the crucible and remelt it and reuse the metal along with the sprue and that blob there at the top, so I can reuse all of that. So this is the next part here where I'm going to separate these from the sprue, and I think I made the sprue a little bit too thick here, because this one, normally they would come in, they sort of bend off fairly easily, but I'm trying to cut this one off, and it's been a bit of a battle, this one here. But I don't want to, when I'm cutting these wheels off, I don't want to kind of cut into it too deeply, because then I'll leave a nub or gap, a hole, or a little nick basically in the wheel. So I want to try and cut off the excess, and then I can always, it's better to have more, and then you can just file it down and sand it and get it smooth, rather than cut too much away and then you end up with a wheel that you can't use basically. So this one is definitely giving me a bit of trouble, even though aluminium is fairly soft metal. It just wouldn't come off easily, and I was kind of battling with it and twisting it and trying to be very careful but fairly brutal at the same time, with the pliers and with my hands trying to bend it off. It was definitely fighting me. The other 2 wheels came off quite well, and here we go. Almost got it, and ping. Yeah, so that pinged way across the table. So I just had to go find that and come and bring it back and, you know, get onto the next part of it, cleaning it up. So that's kind of the wheel there. It's got some dirt on it from the baby powder, basically. So yeah, this is the, you know, the part where I get to clean up the wheels and make them look nice and round and what have you. So just get my Dremel on these and give it a polish first. So it's got all that dirty crap on it, you know. So yeah, this is where they start buffing out fairly nicely, and I can get that. And then once I've kind of cleaned them all up on both sides, I can get my flat file on it, and you know, and file it down and get the grinding head on the Dremel and grind the wheels down as well and make them all smooth, basically. So this is really the final stages of getting the wheels ready. So yeah, and do both sides. And yeah, so here's the other wheel. Just get this one and yeah, just polish it up and get it nice and shiny. And yeah, I have some more of these Lego wheels, Lego train wheels in metal, which is what I want, since no one is making these types of wheels in metal. So you know, I'm having to learn a new skill here to you know, further my quest here to get these 9-volt motors basically back. So I hope you like that, and please tell me what you think in the comments. Love to hear what you think about this, and I'm going to be carrying on with this, and I'll be making some more videos soon. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.